Welcome to the third installment in Rabbinic Stories. I hope everybody is doing well. And just to remind you where we last visited our rabbis, Rabbi Gamliel had been deposed as the Rosh Yeshiva. He had shamed Rabbi Yeshua 3 times, and finally the rabbis decided they had had enough, and they needed to find somebody else to lead the yeshiva, the academy, and they chose Elazar ben Azariah, even though he was 18 years old, and they chose him after he developed some gray hair. And now Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah is the head of the yeshiva, and we'll see what happens next. Dum, dum, dum. Tana, that it was taught. I'll tell you on that day that Elazar ben Azariah became Rosh Yeshiva. So there had been a guard at the door. They removed the guard from the Beit Midrash door, and they gave everybody, all students, a chance to enter. So apparently Rabbi Gamliel had tighter security than Elazar ben Azariah wanted to have. Actually, Rabbi Gamliel announced and said, Kol tamid she'ein tocho kevaro, anybody who's inside is not like they're outside, lo yikanes leBeit Midrash, is not allowed into the Beit Midrash, which is interesting. That sounds like a standard of integrity, which doesn't sound so bad. There's some irony there, perhaps, based on Rabbi Gamliel's personality up to now, but being arrogant doesn't necessarily mean somebody doesn't have integrity. It means they lack kindness. So I guess that could still be okay, but the fact that we will see what happens, it seems to be an improvement when they open the doors over the learning. Then what does it mean that these people who were kept out because they weren't consistent inside and out actually can add to Torah study? It seems like this isn't about integrity. So that day that the guard was removed, they had to get a lot of extra seats. Rabbi Yochanan quotes 2 different opinions about how many seats were needed. Charamar, one said Tosfu arba me'ah safsali, 400 seats, and one said shva me'ah safsali, 700 additional seats were necessary. When Rabbi Gamliel heard this, his mind became weak, meaning he was upset to Rabbi Gamliel. Amar, he said, Dilma, maybe chas v'shalom, God forbid, Manati Torah Yisrael. All these people wanted to come in after the guard was removed, and was I part of preventing Torah study among the Jewish people? It seems like he was. And then there's story of a dream, which we're not going to get into here. But to Rabbi Gamliel's credit, the Af Rabbi Gamliel Lomana Atzmo Bibeta Midrash Afilu Sha'achat. Even though his pride could have kept him away, he came and still studied every single day. And so there's some back and forth between Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Gamliel. Rabbi Gamliel is respected still, even though he has been deposed. And now we have Rabbi Yeshua engaging him in a debate. And now we're going to go to the beginning of Perek Gimel. Amar Rabbi Gamliel, ho v'hachi hava, ezel ve'afisei leRabbi Yeshua. So since it is this that I can engage in debate, and there was in that debate was relevant to Rabbi Gamliel being accepted, I'm going to apologize to Rabbi Yeshua. When Rabbi Gamliel arrived at the house of Rabbi Yeshua, he saw the walls were black. He said to Rabbi Yeshua, looks like you're a blacksmith. Amarlo Rabbi Yeshua, oilo lador shata parnaso. So now the dynamics have obviously changed. Rabbi Yeshua was all about deference, and now it's not as much about deference, apparently, because Rabbi Yeshua says, woe to the generation that you lead. Because you didn't even know the difficulties that we have, the scholars of this generation have, to making money and eating. And you were our leader. So Rabbi Gamliel, in another step in his recovery from arrogance, says, Naneti lecha mecholi, I have oppressed you, please forgive me. Lo ashkach be. Rabbi Yeshua is not so fast to forgive him. Aseh b'shul kvod Abbas. And Rabbi Gamliel says, please forgive me in the name of my father, and out of respect for my father, pious. Rabbi Yeshua, hearing this, forgives him, which is interesting, because it seems like Rabbi Gamliel's ancestry might have fed his arrogance. And in fact, the rabbis were concerned about who would succeed Rabbi Gamliel, because they were concerned about how Rabbi Gamliel would treat them based on his arrogance and respect for ancestry. But here we see that even the victim of that, Rabbi Yeshua, also respects ancestry and legacy. And upon hearing Rabbi Gamliel's appeal to his father's honor, Rabbi Yeshua then forgives him. And so now we have this issue of Rabban Gamliel being forgiven, and we'll see how that plays out. We're going to go to the continuation of the story. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So, Rabbi Akiva hears about the fact that Rabbi Yeshua forgave Rabban Gamliel. Amar lo Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva says, Rabbi Yeshua, nitpayasta, you forgave him. Klum asinu ele b'shvil kvodcha. And now Rabbi Akiva is saying, look, the reason we demoted him was out of respect for you, and you're the one who forgave him. So tomorrow, ani ve'ata nashkim lepitcho. Let's go to Rabban Gamliel's house tomorrow. And the implication here is now Rabban Gamliel, who is this incredible authority, a towering figure, and now Rabbi Yeshua has forgiven him, what's going to happen? Is Rabban Gamliel going to be reinstated? It seems like that's where Rabbi Akiva is going with this. Amre, they say, but how are we going to do this? Heichi navid. Navre, if we depose him, which, by the way, Elazar ben Azariah's wife predicted. Gemiri, however, we've learned. You go up in holiest and not down, which is why, by the way, Beit Hillel's argument of lighting candles 1 to 8 on Hanukkah wins. You go up in holiness and not down. So we're not going to take Elazar ben Azariah, who was elevated to the Rosh Yeshiva, and then demote him. We can't do it. It's against our principles. Nidrosh marchada shabta, marchada shabta. How about we have a compromise? Alternate Shabbatot. So part of their role included delivering a Dvar Torah on Shabbat, as a rabbi's role does today. And so the idea is, the compromise is they take turns. Atele kanuye. But wait a second, they'll be jealous of one another. Okay, so now we're going to see why actually it seems like that statement is not about Rabbi Yeshua as much as, Elazar ben Azariah, as much as it is about Rabban Gamliel's jealousy. So what do they decide to do? They're going to give Rabban Gamliel 3 Shabbos and Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah 1 Shabbos. So every month, Rabban Gamliel is going to give the Dvar Torah 3 Shabbos and Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah 1 Shabbos, which shows that the issue of jealousy was not about, this would have made Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah more jealous theoretically, right? And so clearly this is really, they still are very much concerned about Rabban Gamliel's honor and how to respect him. And this is why in another Gemara, which we're going to see next, Shabbat Shel Mi Hayta, whose Shabbos was it? There's a story told, and somebody asks, whose Shabbos was it? Whose Dvar Torah was it this Shabbos? And the answer is Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah Hayta. And why was that? It was because they were taking turns. I promised you a connection to the Haggadah, and this is where I want to make a connection for you, because in the Haggadah, we have a story of 5 rabbis, and the story of 5 rabbis includes Elazar ben Azariah. And there we see the 5 rabbis' names here: Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Tarfon. Some of these personalities we've already seen. And in that conversation, the time of Kriyat Shema arrives, and Elazar ben Azariah here says, I am like 70 years old and I don't understand. I have not yet started saying Yetziat Mitzrayim, mentioning Yetziat Mitzrayim at night. And what's interesting, first of all, is to see from the story that Elazar ben Azariah, that there was a difference of opinion about whether the 3rd paragraph of what we call the whole Kriyat Shema, now, whether that 3rd paragraph was even being said back then. There was obviously a disagreement. Not everybody was saying it. Secondly, what's interesting is we see here Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, to get his answer, quotes Ben Zoma. And as we've seen the democratizing of the Beit Midrash by Elazar ben Azariah instantly. When he started as Rosh Yeshiva, he removed the guards. So many people came in. There was more of an openness from that moment, we saw, to more voices in the room. And here we see also, by even just quoting Ben Zoma, who was not as lofty a scholar as the others, he is quoting Ben Zoma here when he's in the company of Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Tarfon. And who does Elazar ben Azariah say he learned the answer from? Ben Zoma. And so it's just interesting when we think at the Seder about reading the story. First of all, you understand now why he says, Ani keben shivim shana. You know the background of that quote here. Secondly, the whole notion that the Seder itself is a democratic experience, in the sense that all of us are sitting around the table and sharing ideas. And this story of the 5 rabbis illustrates it very much, because you have Elazar ben Azariah, first of all, that he's at the table, the 18-year-old who was installed because somebody was too mean, okay, and arrogant and exclusive. And then the whole notion that Elazar ben Azariah's values were that more people should be around the table, and he made that a fact in his Beit Midrash in the yeshiva. And then when he sits around this table, he quotes somebody who is not the loftiest of scholars. And Ben Zoma himself, one of the quotes we know him best for is when he says that we can learn from every person. And so you see that these values get played out here in the Mishnah. We saw them get played out when Elazar ben Azariah was established as Rosh Yeshiva, and hopefully they also get played out at your Seder table. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching and listening to the third installment of Rabbinic Stories. I look forward to continuing soon with storytelling time. I hope everybody stays well, and see you soon.